Chapter 14. Noli spent a few days in the company of his family, drinking, feasting, and finally, wasting money that basically had come to him, from the hands of billionaire Didymus, his consort, and all this happened before the astonished gaze of the people who had been educated in the most austere revolutionary principles, and now they are seeing as so-called traitors, slag, worms, and other epithets used by national media to define to those who would not wanted sacrifice for the revolution, all now came from abroad with a lot money, and them walked like kings before the eyes of the humble and hard-working people. Noli finally departed and promised to return the following year. He said he would bring a picture of Christ back and postcards for that everyone could see it. Havana 1998. Didymus consort returns to Cuba, and not only he fulfills his promise to bring the postcards and a painting of Christ back, but also comes with nothing more and nothing less than with the painter himself. You can imagine how the artist would feel when to be allowed him to return to Cuba, being a personality in exile. What favors to Didymus, unlike the extreme position of many people in Miami that failed in the attempt to destroy the revolution, was that he would not spoke publicly bad of it, although in private show, sometimes with a lot of anger, expressed his disagreement with government attitudes. And he would say many times, "I am making poop in his mother's pussy." Distinctly Cuban expression of some indignation. During the talks, which were enacted in the following days, the cultural radiation of the painter would flood of knowing the undernourished family gatherings. So far probably would have been Didymus, the greatest personality that went through that neighborhood. Aurelio, the son-in-law of the chameleon, was with his mouth open around the time while he plotted how to get the juice of the juicy fruit that was before his eyes. Aurelio was a little cheat. No looked bad person, but he had tangled and sometimes harmed, even to his own family, in any dubious business provided to solve his materials and personal's ambitions, nothing work, nor of study, or social commitment. Aurelio plotted while he is listening to the painter how to take advantage of the romantic interest of Didymus. But to the latter began to come the Aurelio's interest like a ring to the finger. An ignorant person of little culture and finally tractable. Everything he needed for their expansionist ambitions in the island. Both came to agree to the penetration and diffusion of the work in Cuba, but how? Not far away of there, three friends are talking totally discouraged. Its future has become uncertain, and his youth seems to fade before the chilling realities of the decadent social environment in which they live. Frustrated dreams and loves, family problems, given largely by the total crisis of the country, in recovering from a special period, after the fall of the Red Bloc countries and blocked by a ferocious imperialism that finally threatens to strangle to these people. It is a neighborhood that has become marginal as their neighbors, including young people, has ceased to be overcome, and leisure is preying on them all. That there are not already many possibilities to overcome oneself as before, because the country is emerging from a phase of survival. One of these young people, the most suffered and brave of all them, does not know what he will do to break the negative circle that is doing to him a great physical and psychological harm. Physical because he cannot avoid suffering, and mental, because with respect to others, his ideas, perfectly achievable, seem to them craziness. His ideals go much further because he is well aware of the exploitation of man by man, despite he never having lived in a blue country. His deep social consciousness evokes the words of the Cuban apostle José Martí when he wrote, "I know of a deep regret / between the pains, nameless / the slavery of the men / is the great pain of the world." Vladimir, that's the name of this young man, is exceptional. They got this name because when he was born, one time USSR was so admired in the green country that most children will put Russian names. So were thousands with Russian names as Vladimir, Yuri, Ivan, Alexander, Natasha, etc. But was the Vladimir's name a well choice made for his mother because he always was identified with the proletariat oppressed by all sorts of bourgeois and exploiters, and he also have skills of philosopher and leader, though not exactly Bolshevik.